Hello, and welcome to an episode 2 of the show. This is a pilot episode that came out that I shot actually with Fiona in February. Came out recently, and people really liked it and wanted me to continue it. And so here I am. We're doing another point in conversation. Today, I have a very lovely guest who I'm a massive fan of and a little bit intimidated by. You know her for her work, obviously working fantastic Daredevil art, Halo Forever, or Halo Infinite art that's recently being published, which I can't wait for mine. I'm hoping it's coming soon so I can have it ready for the game. And of course, just a wonderful person, NerfAlice. How you doing?
Hey, thanks for inviting me on. Would you call this episode 2 then, or episode 1? Is it pilot 1?
You know
How are you
what?
going to number them?
I think the pilot would be the first, so I think
Okay.
this will technically be officially episode 2. So episode 2.
Cool.
And I have, of course, I think the perfect person to talk to because, again, like I said, I'm a massive fan of you in terms of all the different artworks that you do, the different fandoms that you love, the fact that I think you're just a wonderful person and wonderful Twitch streamer that just has so much joy when you're making your art and sharing it with the people in the crowd. So enough gassing you up, Alice. Can you please tell me briefly who are you?
So I'm Alice. I draw stuff on the internet. I love being a fan of things, no matter what they are, and I'm all for just if you like something, love it, and just be vocal about it, and just don't apologize for liking things.
No, that's wonderful. Where do you feel like that started for you? Like growing up with all the things that you like. I mean, when did you come aware of sort of like your fandom, perchance?
So like I remember playing like with Pokemon cards in school. When I was still in like primary school. This is gonna be like we're gonna have like different parts of the ocean. So primary school is like maybe until like age 11. So yeah, like playing with like Pokemon cards then, and like playing Pokemon Blue and all that type of stuff. But there weren't like many other people in my school doing it, but I still enjoyed it and would talk about it to anyone who would listen. And then that kind of, I don't know, went on to like Yu-Gi-Oh when I moved up to comp, and then I would talk about it to anyone who'd listen. And we had like the Sailor Moon phase and Card Captor Sakura phase. And I don't know, I've just always liked a range of different things, maybe not for a very long time, but as I've liked them, I've loved them, and very happily try and share that with other people.
No, of course. In terms of your earlier phases, like how did you get introduced to them in the first place? How did you get introduced to the Pokemon? Were you a gamer? Were you playing the games? Were you getting the anime? Is probably my closest thing that I first saw Pokemon.
So we had a TV show called like SMTV Live, which was like Saturday morning television, and Pokemon was played on that. So potentially through that.
Sure.
My sister had a Game Boy, so I really wanted a Game Boy. So I remember playing, like in my head, I spent hours playing Pokemon, but and then I got stuck in a cave and couldn't get out of the cave, and then like that was kind of my end of my Pokemon career.
That cave is hard for especially
Well,
for early people playing
kids.
Pokemon.
But like, I went back and I got to that point in about like 2 hours or maybe even less. I was like, gosh, I'm sure I spent forever on this cave.
No, it's the Dark
I
Souls
only
of
got to this
caves.
cave.
It's the Dark Souls of caves. It's so tough.
So yeah, probably through TV. I would say same with Yu-Gi-Oh. When I got into like Yu-Gi-Oh cards and stuff, it was on TV. I just liked it.
Would you say you're an anime fan, or is it, or sort of just sort of the generalized ones that are shown on those Saturday morning cartoons? Like,
I'd say yeah, very much just what's been like on Saturday morning cartoon type of
Sure.
anime. My friend was like super into anime, and like she was the one that kind of got me into like Sailor Moon proper
gotcha.
and Card Captors and stuff. And then like I read a lot of the Sailor Moon manga because she had like a huge collection. but then like when we drifted apart, because we went to different secondary schools, so we drifted apart a little bit. So then like maybe the type of anime I watched kind of got less and less and less. And it's only been like the last couple of years, say like 4 years, that I've tried to like reignite that and like go out and try and watch more anime type of thing. But yeah, I wouldn't say I'm an anime person, although it's part of like maybe my history in fandom stuff.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say like it's a fundamental part of like my wide things I like.
Sure. I think the Saturday morning cartoon ones are just ways to trick you into anime because they're obviously, very set similar to all the other ones that that come out, but there's some anime and there's some really deep anime that I definitely have never been a part of, but that is funny. What drew you to Pokemon specifically? Was it the animals? Was it the designs? Like, what was it that made you like keep playing or keep going?
I think I think it was the animals. They're kind of cute, and I think it was that type of stuff.
Are you a fan
Like
of animals?
yeah, yeah, pretty much. I do like animals. And like my favorite animals are always like the little bit of like the dumb ones. Like if the like if it looks a little bit ugly, but
Sure.
like cute, I love them.
Shout out
Type
you
of thing.
platypuses out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think it's that type of thing. They're kind of cute looking, and I remember like following the story a little bit, but I can't remember like the proper story of what goes on with Pokemon. I just remember like an episode and
Yeah. Well, I feel like every time you play a game, it's like it's the same story. It's like a person goes, grabs the badges, and they get to the
yeah.
end. Though I did love, watching at least the Pokemon anime when he gets to the final four and he loses. I was like, oh, that is real life right there.
Yeah.
That is how that goes. Sorry, I'm just making sure my phone doesn't go off because apparently it decides not to go off when I want it to when we were starting this podcast earlier. But even so,
But we're here.
but we're here. We're here. So growing up, and obviously there's differences between both you and me, living obviously far distances from each other. I, of course, remember watching cartoons on the WB. And then you said, what was the name of the channel you said?
SMTV Live.
And is that something that's like ingrained in you? Like for me, WB is ingrained in me in terms of like
Yeah.
the logo and stuff like that. So what else was on the lineup for back in the day, if you remember?
Oh goodness. Like the SMTV Live thing, they had like lots of like skits, so I can remember all of those. Like I rattle them off, although it being very little to so many people. It was like
But those
Ant
little
versus Jack,
those little
Challenge
things mean
Ant,
so much to people. That's why.
like Wonky Donkey, and like people would phone in and like have to guess what like this rhyming thing is. So if it was a donkey with one leg, it was a Wonky Donkey, and I don't know, just the whole show is just like bonkers and a lot of fun.
Was that like a
Yeah,
local thing, like to your area, or was it like syndicated, like
I want to say UK. I want to say
just UK
UK
specifically?
wide.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there's other TV shows that were part of it, but I remember like Pokemon a lot, like associated with
Of
that
course.
morning show. Yeah,
Yes.
like they're linked together in my memories.
So we talked a little bit, obviously, that who you were. So who were you in primary school or growing up as a kid? Were you the nerdy kid? Were you just sort of normal kid, and then nerd stuff comes to you? Like, what made you to who you are?
I mean, I suppose I was like a little bit nerdy, but not terribly. I would kind of be friends with most people. I was just kind of like there.
Oh,
Like probably not in a bad way, but I think I just kind of like assimilate or adapt to like whatever situation I'm in. So like it was me and like my best friend Fran. So we were like besties, but then they were off sick a lot because they like were ill quite often, and then I would go like make friends just like with whoever when they were off. And then like they'd come back to school and I'd be like, right, okay, I'm gonna play with Fran now. Like,
bye.
but like not in a mean way. It's just like I just kind of find a reason to hang out with anyone type of thing. But yeah, like when I was in comp, like my first year of comp was just a tricky year for me anyway. But by the time I like settled in, I would say like maybe I was kind of like part of the emo kids, but not really like one of the emo kids, emo kids.
Sure. That's totally fine.
Yeah, I'd like spend like lunchtime, like me and some other guys would go to the French room and play Yu-Gi-Oh!
Uh,
Like that went on for a bit. So like that's kind of nerdy, but I don't know. Like I was quite academic as well, but I was just pretty normal, very average.
and
Very
so,
average person.
you clicked into something obviously that I grew up with as well, which is the emo phase or emo group. Now, for you, what was exactly that for you? Was it changing clothes or was it the music? What are some things that you've gone through that you associate with the emo phase?
So yeah, like clothes and music. Like I had like really baggy like school trousers, but really flared baggy school trousers that were
Sure.
like ripping at the bottom. I had
If
the
it ripped,
shoes
it was
that
even
everyone.
cooler.
Pardon?
If it ripped even further, it was like, yeah, that's
Oh
cool.
yeah. Like the belts with like studs in,
Oh,
like
yes.
checks. And like etnies, were they etnie shoes?
Oh,
I
yes.
had the shoes that everyone else had. And like I dyed like the front section of my head red for a bit. I felt cool with that.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. But we had a really cool place in my hometown which had like an under 18s like emo night. So that was the best. So that was just like really loud music, all under 18. Like night on. I think it was like I want to say it was like a Thursday night, so it was like a school night as well.
Of course.
We'd all go to like the club and have like a proper good time.
Wake up the next day, just like,
Yeah,
I
like
don't know if I can make it to class.
but yeah, but then I always didn't see myself as like as much of a cool emo person.
Yeah, there's hierarchy.
Yeah.
I feel like every subgroup also has a hierarchy of how cool you are, depending on how far you go towards it. Like it's like,
Yeah.
oh man, he's got a tattoo. I don't know if I can go that far.
Yeah, so like I wasn't like one of the ones that were like I wasn't smoking. I didn't
Sure.
have like a proper like emo haircut. Like as much as I could get was that red strip.
Yeah.
I didn't really wear like too much eyeliner or something like that. But I remember.
So there's no hidden photos of you, just like straight like the Crow or anything like that.
No, not quite. Like again, like I just be like quite kind of average, but maybe a little bit in the emo group, but not properly.
Sure.
I don't know.
What music were you listening to at that time specifically?
I mean, Green Day, Blink-182, that type of stuff.
No, for sure.
741, Alien Anthem.
I love that you mentioned Green Day first because I remember in high school, like the very first day of high school, I put on the television and it was one of the one channels that used to play music videos, and the music video was American Idiot played for the first time, and I was like, that's my song of getting into high school, my whole new phase of life, and so that definitely like resonates with me personally. It's like, yeah, that was the start of a whole new phase of my life, and that phase is I'm going to start wearing darker clothing. So that resonates with me for sure.
Yeah, like how emo were you? Were you like
Man,
one of the cool emo kids? Or?
I would no, I definitely would say I wasn't cool because I wasn't into smoking. I wasn't into getting tattoos. I still to this day don't have any tattoos. Granted, I want them. I'm just very terrible and very picky. One year I'm like, I want a Doctor Who tattoo. Another year I want a, Jack and Sally. And I'm like, everyone's got Jack and Sally, especially in this scene. My Chemical Romance, like all types of different permeations. Eventually I will get a tattoo, but for right now, I'm clean. I would say I had a weird thing where like I was very much into the fishnets. And I would just totally just wear them in class and and paint my nails too. And everyone, and this is like 2004 to 2008 is my high school period. And so, things are not where they are today, but no one questioned it, which was which I find refreshing, given where I grew up and where I came from in the South Side of Chicago, because we're all like all in the same level, and so no one really kind of questioned what I was doing, and even I was like not sure what I was doing. I was just like, this is just androgyny, just because like why, and it's really just because I was emanating obviously things that I was watching. Like I was a huge fan of My Chemical Romance, but I was also a huge fan of bands like From First to Last, who of course is the he's Skrillex.
Oh, okay.
Which he used to wear fishnets and stuff like that, and baggy hair like all like this. And then of course My Chemical Romance, AFI, Thursday, and stuff like that. So the coolest thing that I ever got away with as an emo person was I would have Iron Maiden Vans, like the slip-ons. I had a Blondie shirt, and I was it was one of those schools where you had a button up, so I would just unbutton all the time and just the Blondie shirt. And I remember getting my hair straightened in the principal's office. Like that is a memory that I have that I can't believe that happened. I remember,
How?
I was totally cool with my principal. He was a total nerd like us. Like he was actually giving me 3DS, or no, it wasn't 3DS. It was DS games. And let me play. It was like Electoplankton. He let me play that once, and he were totally cool. And then a bunch of girls just like did my hair inside the principal's office. And I was like, wow, okay. So yeah, I mean, I had my moments. I definitely had some hairs, and I definitely wore some clothings. I was always still like, I'm not that cool enough. I'm not as cool as that guy. Like I always idolized my friend CJ, who like had the cool like dicky pants that were like frayed at the bottoms, and then like had a hat with a cool thing. And I'm like, I want to be that guy, and I could never feel like I emulated it. But as much as I try, even in my later years with red hair and darker clothing, I still am never on that CJ level that I've always wanted to be. Was there anyone that you were trying to emulate, or anyone that was a style reference to you?
I don't know, but like probably the similar type of stuff, like just in terms of like Kerrang, like the music channel, and like just having that on all the time. And I mean, I think it was called like Extreme Sports or something. There was another TV channel which was just like a lot, just like skateboarding and snowboarding, and like loving that as well. So I think I might have like bridged the gap of both those things.
Were you a extreme sports fan?
Pardon?
You're an extreme sports fan?
I mean, I definitely had a phase. I definitely had a phase. Like my whole life's just phases for just loving stuff.
No, that's awesome.
But like I have old diaries from like that age.
Really?
And I think I got rid of them. I think I was just like, I don't want anyone else seeing these. I just got rid of them.
You're lucky. Well, were you also in the MySpace era? Where
yes, yeah.
Did you have a MySpace
I had
blog?
MySpace, yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
so yeah, I like rereading it was good to like remind myself, but then I did get rid of it. But there was a one page where I had like drawn like in my head like what a cool person would look like, and like drawn like lots of chains and like lots of belts, and I think like that mixture of like maybe skate look and emo look, and I just like I just listed all the things that would make me really cool.
That's awesome.
I'm quite glad I've got rid of them though. I'm happy I remember because it was only maybe about 4 years ago that I found them all again. But yeah, I just got rid of it.
God. Have you ever thought about, because I know you have done self-portraits before. Have you thought about doing the self-portrait of what you thought you would look like if you were cool?
Oh, I mean, I could do. It's I don't know. It's one of those things. So I think we've touched on it a couple of times now, just chatting. That how just like wanted to be cool was just so important to me.
Yeah.
Just so important to me. Like I don't think it mattered what type of thing I was into at the time. I just never felt like I was the cool version of that. Sure. But maybe that goes hand in hand with the whole emo thing as well. Just not feeling good enough. But it's yeah. It is tricky. It's tricky.
No, for sure. Do you possibly remember like your main top 8 from MySpace?
My what?
Your top was it top? It was top 8, right?
Yes. Oh goodness. Like no.
Was it because I know that people sometimes would put their friends, but I know a lot of people put like movies and people and like celebrities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Would you remember anything that you followed strictly from MySpace that carried on?
I wouldn't say so. I definitely remember like music starting, like when you first, and I'm
Oh
sure
my
I had
god.
Helena, like My Chemical Romance Helena. I'm pretty sure was the music that would like autoplay.
Yeah.
Um, no, I can't remember any of my top stuff.
No, it's
Uh,
I don't it's some of the stuff is lost to time, and if you even try to go back, it doesn't look the same. I've recently found, well, not recently, I've had known for years that it still exists, but my MySpace is still out there and it is cringy as hell, and it is locked to stuff and photos of people that I'm no longer with. They're still there, and I feel bad for any future person I end up with because they better not look on that website because it's awful.
it'd be like the part in the relationship we're like, okay, I think we need to have a look at this
Yes.
together.
Together, so we know the context in case you find this. I clearly look. People say I don't age. Listen. I promise I age. Look, this is different. The other sad thing that I learned is that the MySpace blog still exists. And years ago, and I'm going to admit this finally on video so people can find it because it's been rumored throughout time, but only because we're talking about MySpace in this era. But you know those blogs, right? The MySpace blogs. Not that long, like at least 10 years now. Thank God. 10 years ago, I said I'm going to collect all those and I'm going to publish them. And I published them with all of the grammatical errors and the angst of a 14-year-old, 15-year-old boy just publicly. And I made a book, and we could buy that on Amazon. I'm not going to tell you the title, but go ahead and search for it.
Wait, what?
You can buy it on Amazon. And I've been in Zoom calls. I've been actually in the Kind of Funny Zoom calls where people have read passages from the book, and friends like Indie Boy and MC Fixer, and they've all seen it. And yeah, it is out there for 99 cents. You can find it out there. I'm sure if you Google my name, you'll probably pull it up. But it is bad. I was a bad writer to start with. But is there anything on the internet that's my shame? Is there anything on the internet that you feel like is your shame? You don't have to reveal where it is or what it is, but is there?
Well, probably somewhere on Tumblr. Probably somewhere on Tumblr. That was like my second emo phase. Like when I went to uni, we regressed a little bit, and then there's probably stuff on my Tumblr because I lost access to it as well. So I can go back and take a look, but I can't change anything.
Yeah,
can't change anything on that.
That's yeah.
Yeah. There's probably stuff.
There's some things I'm gonna have to get lawyers for. I have to take down. That's okay. So post, obviously, the emo phase being primarily in your okay. There's primary school, which of course is for us elementary school, or all the way up to till high school. What is high school refer to?
So maybe like our
like
comp
grade
or like
11
secondary school
to final?
is like
Secondary school? Okay.
It'd be 11 to like 16, and then you have like college or sixth form.
And that's where us growing up is sort of like in that phase, all right? Mm-hmm. So then who are you in university? Who have you evolved into? You butterflied into university?
Well, university take one. I turned into pretty much a mess, if I'm honest. So I finished some of my sixth form or like college or whatever, so like 18, with like my A levels and like chemistry, maths, physics, and art. And then I went to university to do chemistry, and very fast it went downhill. I mean, it was a mixture of everything. It was like the freedom and the alcohol and like
of course.
Self-motivated myself to go to like lectures and to labs and to like put in the work, and that alongside me just losing complete interest in what I was doing and what I was studying. Just like my first year was like a disaster. Um, then I had the option to like reset some exams and like repeat the year and do that type of stuff. I was like, I don't think there's any point because like um I don't know if it'd be any different the next time around. Um, but like I met so many cool people. I don't regret going because
Hmm.
there's so many friends I have now that I wouldn't have had if I hadn't gone. And then I had a year to kind of, I don't know, sort myself out a bit,
Sure.
decide what I want to do. So I did end up going to university again a second time to do politics.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I was probably very boring the second time around. So I was living at home, working and going to uni. So that I probably fit the whole 3 years of uni experience that first year, the first time, and then the second time I was just uh, very boring and just kind of got the work done type of thing.
No, that's good. I mean, you got all the exploration I think out there in your first half. You got through the second half. What I'm curious about then, what was the transitions for your? I know obviously art is your passion. I assume. What got you into art?
Um, so like I've always loved drawing. I've always kind of been like the arty kid. Like when I was in sixth form, I would spend my lunch times in the art room doing like working on my like projects and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and then that kind of faded. Like when I went to university the first time, just because I didn't really have time to spend in it because I was partying. And then the second time I went to uni, it was more I didn't really do much drawing because I had the guilt if I spent time like doing anything that was fun for myself.
Really?
It's that constant guilt of like, well, I should be working. And like I say it and it makes me sound like I was like a really good student. I still wasn't that good a student, but I knew if I was just not doing reading that was for my degree, I had that insane like guilt and pressure. So art kind of stopped for a good maybe 4 or 5 years.
Hmm.
Um, and then with Sherlock, the TV show, I was like, yeah, I need to draw. So I did like, a bunch of Sherlock fan art, and that kind of got my spark going again. Um, and then it was when I was going to Canada for it was like my very late gap year.
Sure. Sure.
So like I got my working visa and went to Canada, and in the airport I bought my iPad, and then that was like the start of the next chapter.
I
Like
see.
in the airport, buying my iPad, bought the pencil, got Procreate, downloaded it in the airport, and that's where my digital art career kicked off. And yeah, and then that kind of was like maybe my third phase of drawing and stuff.
No, that's really awesome. What drew Sherlock, a show that I know very well. I've watched many. I've never finished the show, only because I feel Moffat does a really good start, but then
Hmm.
Moffat doesn't end things like I like because I love Doctor Who as well. What drew you to draw specifically? You draw specifically people. I noticed a lot, like
Hmm.
focus points, especially like if it's like a person or a theme around like sort of a central character, especially when it comes to like Matt Murdock, which you're obviously a huge fan of. Charlie Cox given. What was it about Sherlock that drew you in specifically? Like, yes, I have to draw this.
It's a hard thing to pinpoint. It's a hard thing to pinpoint, but it's what drives me a lot in my art. Like as you said, I'm nearly always drawing characters because that just what is exciting. And I
Sure.
think that um like I do like a lot of sci-fi and fantasy and that type of stuff. But even then, it's the people and the characters that I'm excited about rather than like the locations. And
Yeah.
to a lesser extent, like the storylines don't matter as much as how the characters are experiencing the story,
Sure.
if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I'm very like character driven in how I enjoy entertainment. And then so that's what like inspires me to want to draw. Um, so yeah, like with Sherlock, it was just like a lot of like the angst and the sadness, and I
Of
was posting
course.
them on Tumblr, and there's all these theories about it. I'm drawing like drawing John like really sad and stuff like that. But I think it's just like my way of showing I like something, or my way of expressing my enjoyment of something is just trying to recreate it in a drawing picture. I struggle to draw landscapes or
Sure.
come up with original characters and draw stuff from imagination. That isn't really where my skills lie. So I think it's that as well. It's like it's a comfort zone.
Sure.
But it's probably a mixture of everything like that. Like I like drawing faces because that's my comfort zone. I like the characters of these shows, and because they are characters I am excited about, I want to draw them. That makes sense.
No, absolutely. And I love so in terms of what characters that draws into you, it's the emotions, the feelings that they go through. Sherlock definitely is someone who struggles through quite a bit. And Matt Murdock specifically, which let's talk about. Okay, let's talk about Matt Murdock. Let's talk about Charlie Cox.
It just sounds like it's like people who are suffering.
So, well, I mean, there's that character arc, which is them going through some hard times, and then hopefully for the release. Some characters get that. Some characters do not get that. Some characters are, go through some life and death situations, and those are fun. And watching them grow from it, or change, or not change, depending on who the character is. I assume it's similar happens with you and Matt Murdock, and obviously Charlie Cox specific. I think is a large part of it is Charlie Cox. But, what are some other characters throughout your life that have also you drawn inspiration from, that people not obviously in some from your art, but just people that you've cared about? Like, what are some other characters in your lifetime other than Pikachu?
I mean, when Pikachu died and Ash was crying. I remember crying so much.
Of course.
I'm trying to think. Like, I mean,
Sure.
the 10th Doctor, so David Tennant Doctor was my doctor. And I mean, his arc and what he went through, I love as a character.
Yeah.
And like how he left the show. And
if I'm not mistaken, he said, "I don't want to go." Is that correct? I still crying about that in my life.
Yeah.
It's still, it hurts.
I don't want you to go.
Ah!
It's like I like being sad. No, it's, I think it's just like the extreme emotions,
Sure.
isn't it? And like you just want to be there for them and support them and hug them, and you can't.
No, and it's funny. I think it's funny. You said like like you say the phrase "I like being sad." It's not I don't see sadness in the art. I do see the character, but I see life and all this other color and this expression that you show. And it's funny that it comes from sadness. So I do find that fairly interesting.
Yeah, I think it's just the extremes. Like me and the boyfriend were in town earlier today, and I can't even remember how it happened, and he was just saying to me like you're very sensitive, like in the nicest way, but you're very sensitive. And it's like, yeah, I know, but I think I prefer that. I think I'd rather, like, if something's sad, I feel very sad, or if something is happy, I feel very happy, and I'd rather be like very free to experiencing those range of emotions than not feeling any emotions at all. So
No, for sure.
I think that kind of like leads into it as well, if that makes sense.
No,
I can't even remember what it was. Like, I just felt sad for someone because, I don't know, maybe they walked past and they looked sad, or they huffed, or like it was literally something like that. I was like, oh, bless them. That's tricky.
Oh. To redirect, because I know that you brought this up and you're talking about the place you're from. So obviously, me dumb American, only know stuff from Americans. Can you tell me a little bit about the place that you live and your experiences there?
Yeah, so I'm from like Swansea, which is like a city in South Wales, and gotcha. I've gone places, but I haven't gone far.
You got in Canada, that's pretty far. You got in close.
Yeah, so like I've lived
America's
in Canada for a bit. I've lived in London for a bit, and I lived in Cardiff and Birmingham for a bit as well. So I've lived in other places, but
Cardiff, huh?
now I am living like 10 minutes from my parents' house, which is my family's house, and probably about 15 minutes from my primary school and comprehensive school I went to, and my university I went to. And it's a nice place. So if you like Google the Gower, you will see like how beautiful where I live is. Like it is gorgeous. But the town itself in Swansea is a very tricky place in terms
Really?
of like it's not terribly like deprived, although there's like underprivileged areas like I'm sure you get in a lot of places. But there's just not much here unless you want to work like for the council or in like a school or social care setting. And there's a couple of call centres, or you work in like leisure and tourism, and that's kind of it. There's no like I mean there is some creative spaces, sure, but like you're not getting the opportunities here that you would get if you just go an hour down the road to like Cardiff or 4 hours away in London. So I love my hometown. I think I know how fortunate I am to live in such a beautiful part of the world, but it is very tricky to like have aspirations in certain fields if you live
Sure.
in my hometown. Oops, sorry.
It's okay. That happens.
I got my headset on. It's really putting me off because I can't hear myself speak, and then I just sound really claustrophobic. And then I'm doing this, and it's falling off my head. It's a mixture of everything going on.
No, it's okay. It's funny, yeah, because I transitioned from this microphone to something else, and now I can't hear myself anymore. It was weird. Wireless headphones and this just doesn't work. But now I'm back to the old one, so I can finally hear myself again. No, that's interesting, and I love that you said that you took a time to then go to Canada, so you've actually traveled across the world. How long was that stay?
About 9 months.
9 months. So
Yeah,
significant
so
time.
I was in Vancouver for most of it, and then was renting there and had like a job in a coffee shop there. And then when I had time off, I was going doing like lots of bits of fun. It was then because I was in Vancouver, I was able to go to PAX in Seattle because
Oh,
it's
wow.
just down the side. So
Yeah.
that felt like a crazy cool opportunity that I'm also very grateful for. That I was in like the right part of the world at the right time for PAX,
How was PAX?
which is pretty cool. It was amazing. Like it was just so much to take in. It was so much to take in. I got to meet a lot of like kind of funny people, which
Yeah.
is really cool. I didn't even know, just like walking around somewhere that big with just like massive signs for like all the games, and I didn't really like queue to or line up. You
course.
don't use the word queue, do you?
No, sometimes.
Wait, okay.
Yeah.
Wait in line to like play the games and stuff. But just walking around and like taking it all in was absolutely like mind blowing. Have you've been to PAX and stuff like that?
I've never been to PAX. I've never been to either of the three that are here in America, and then primarily the only convention that like for gaming wise I've gone to has actually been E3. I've been to E3 twice, which yeah, talk about crazy experiences. Those are definitely some wild things. However, having the social aspect, like you're saying, like meeting with people and kind of funny best friends, I've only accomplished that with the kind of funny meetups, within kind of funny live 3 and then prom. You've gone to some of the meetups in the UK, is that correct?
Yeah, so I went to a London one, which was like just before pandemic, 2019.
Wow. Okay.
And that was really cool, and like I got to meet people who I kind of knew from the internet,
Yeah.
and then got to meet like lots of new people as well. So like Fitz, we kind of like said hello in the queue because we kind of know each other from Twitter, and I was like, hi. Like Fixer, FNH Paul. I'm gonna forget everyone's names, but like there's
No, of course.
so many people that like we'd chat and be like, oh, what's your name on Twitter? And it's like, oh, we follow each other on Twitter. We know each other.
No, that happens so much, especially during those, and it's so funny because like some people will recognize my face before they recognize anything else, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's me. How's it going? And that's actually how Kyle Stevenson, from the 6-1 Indian Trophy Room, he recognized me because we were at the same bar for an event in SF, and then there was a wall that was just Twitter like hashtags. So like if you hashtag it, it would show up. And so I took a picture of myself. Was like, "Hey, if you find me, give me a drink." And I posted it. And then he's like, "Mario, come over here." And he's by the bar.
Way.
Yeah, he's like by the bar. And then he found me and bought me. Him and John Smith bought me a drink. So that was really sweet. We got to hang out that whole weekend. I'm going to preface this for people that might not know. Kind of Funny is a internet group of individuals that we've all follow, both me and Alice, and they're hilarious, fun. They throw events sometimes for public, and then we get to hang out. Hopefully, for people that don't know that. What was it? So this is why I want to transition to that for a second. What drove you to like, yes, I'm going to go to a public event with front of strangers to meet strangers, or people that you've known on the internet, of course.
So like when I was in Vancouver, we had like a mini meetup there, like not like a official thing, but met Blessing and we was there. I can't remember who else was there. It's really bad. But
It's so many people, so many times. Yeah. So.
But I already had like some sort of experience of going to something where like I wouldn't really know the people, but I know we like similar things.
Of course.
But I knew straight away because it was one of their goals, like one of their start of the year goals was to go on their world tour.
Yes, I remember that.
And like when it was just an idea, I was like, I need to go. I gotta go. So there wasn't like any sort of hesitancy
Really?
or worry about that. Yeah, I just knew I had to go. So
that's incredible. I was nervous the first time because they came here in Chicago at a Portillo's. And I remember being in the Uber and just being like, what am I doing? Like, I'm going to Portillo's and I'm going to meet 4 strangers. And I remember going there, and it was the first time that I saw Zyger, who I heard his name 1,000 times, all over the show. And I'm like, oh my God, you're a real person. Hi, how's it going? And then meeting so many other people and being so welcoming. And we had a whole thing where we decided to go to like Navy Pier down here, which is a big pier that basically has attractions and stuff like that. And we all hung out and had a wonderful time and getting to know people on a personal level, which was strange because, again, just hours before that, I was scared and tired and like afraid to meet new people. So all of a sudden now I have this wonderful group of people that are integral to my life. So that's been crazy. And then of course people, have been following me, everywhere in terms of people watching. Hi, how's it going? And how's that been for you, for people to now recognize you as NerfAlice?
Fine, I think. And it'd be interesting to go like back to a meetup now I've met more people, especially over this year, and have that experience again. But it's like I know most people through Twitter first, so I know people by like their Twitter names rather than their like IRL names and that type of thing. But like if there's anyone, and this is not going to happen, but I'm going to say it anyway. If there's anyone watching this who ever like apprehensive about going to like any sort of meetup and an event, for Kind of Funny, or it could be something else, but I don't advocate for anything else because I don't know what those people are like. But for Kind of Funny, best friends or whatever, I would definitely go. You're gonna meet people who share similar interests. You have a good starting point because you've both made the decision to like go there, and you can chat to people, and everyone's so welcoming. And like, yeah, like being a little bit scared is fine, but I would not go because you're nervous. Just do it.
No, yeah, just take the plunge. At the very least, you can walk in, and then if you're not happy, you can leave. You can just walk away, and then
that's also very true.
Go about your day. I was at a Portillo's. I could have easily have gotten the Portillo sandwich and just walked out, done my thing. But instead, I hung around, and I'm still here, and I still love everyone dearly. And started a podcast with people, so there's that too. Which were pretty much everyone was a Kind of Funny best friend except for one, and I'll get him in there one day. I'm gonna get him introduced. What is something that For people that know you as NerfAlice, know you as the artist, what is something do you think is unexpected about you that people should know about or don't know about that they should know about?
Um, I don't know. I don't think I have anything sort of that hidden about me. Like I don't say like I overshare, but I don't think I have anything that's terribly hidden. I
Sure.
think some people are surprised by like my accent and when I'm from if we haven't like met in real life before. I think a lot of people might just assume I'm from America just because that's what they are, perhaps. I don't know. I don't think there's anything particularly hidden or deep about me. Pretty much,
That's the
pretty
quote.
much
That's the
what I
quote.
say.
I'm not
Yeah,
hidden or deep.
yeah, yeah. Pretty much like whatever I like tweeting or saying or doing is how I'm feeling or what I'm doing. If that makes sense. Like,
No, you're authentically you.
I yeah, I don't really have hidden talents or interests. Or
No, I mean your interest because your talent is also your interest, and your interest is also your talent, which I think is wonderful. The fact that you can express yourself in that way, and how I think, like you said, you are authentically you. You are who you say you are.
we'll try to be. Yeah, I hope I am. Like,
How has streaming been for you? I know that you do some drawings in the morning and chat with the chat. How's that been for you?
I haven't been streaming as much as I'd want, and um, like various things. It was like new job and
Of
moving
course,
house, although those are kind of old excuses now rather than like factually correct.
sure.
Um, but I love it. It is like us chatting now. I know it's for a podcast. I know it's for something, but just like chatting and hanging out with people, like it just gives me so much energy, and I love it. And I think that's my favorite part about streaming is just like I'm doing what I like by drawing. I'm chatting with the chat, so I'm having fun, and then hopefully I can make their day a little bit happier or nicer if they can hang out with me for a little bit. Um, but like I am a terrible streamer in terms of consistency and stuff. But it is the type of thing like it's happened a bit recently where I'd like start a stream and you have the technical difficulties and you power through and you get through them. And then next time you go to stream, it's like, oh, should I? Because my microphone probably won't work, or then something else will go wrong. So like I do get those type of feelings and emotions as well. I think like the main streaming thing I struggle with is if I know that if I know there are people in the chat or people watching who I don't know, then that weirds me out a little bit. That's when I start to like second guess myself. So like Trix is always going on about me because like she is like practically my manager about like tweeting when I'm live and I'm putting like the stream out there a bit more. But that's my main sort of trepidation when I get like a little bit weirded out is when I'm not sure who is there.
Gotcha.
But I think that's the side effect and consequence of just being like part of like such a cool group of people that I have that reassurance and that safety net of knowing that cool group of people are there. So where I think like my streaming journey might look very different to some other people's who don't have that fun friendship group or support group type of thing.
No, for sure. No, it's so funny, especially with time difference, and I make jokes about time travel. But it'd be great some morning, like, especially during the pandemic. There would be mornings when I would wake up, and I wake up in the morning, and the first thing I see is actually you're streaming, and so I'll pop in there, and then just enjoy my morning afternoon while or no afternoon my morning, watching you draw either Witcher or Daredevil or Spider-Man or any of all the wonderful things that you draw, and just having conversations with the chat and hearing you talk, and it's just awesome, and I love it. It was such welcoming mornings just to have sort of like this doodle jam while I'm making breakfast. But yeah, no, I think that everything that you do in terms of the way you talk to people, the way that you're expressing yourself through your art, I think it's wonderful, and I hope to see more morning streams. Just wake up and there's just more morning streams. So for sure. I want to say, in terms of the future of Alice, of NerfAlice, where would you hopefully would like to see yourself in the next couple of years? And that doesn't necessarily have to be art or making that. I meant just in life in general.
Like the last couple of months, I've been pretty happy. And if I'm just like as I am now in a couple of years, I think I'd be pretty happy then as well. Like I feel that I've got enough like creative avenues, and I got like the like Patreon prints I'm doing every month, and like the streaming when I'm on the ball, and like just drawing things like fan art and things that I enjoy anyway. And I got my part-time coffee shop job, and like I've only been there a few months, but I'm going into work happy. Like I'm happy to go to work. I'm like, I have a good day. I'm gonna make people some coffees. And that is just, it's going fine. I'm enjoying it, and I'm not making leaps and bounds. I don't know if I'm gonna have any sort of career or savings or anything like that. But at the moment, we're like treading water quite peacefully, and I got a cocktail in my hand, and I'm just like treading water, and I'm fine, and I'm happy. I'm not looking at how deep the water is. I'm not looking at the boat over there. Like, I am fine. And if I'm lucky enough just to be in that same I am fine situation this time next year, then I'm okay with that as well. Like, I'm terribly unambitious. I just want things to be fine. And if I'm kind of happy, that will do for me.
No, for sure. Okay. Well, I think that will bring us towards the end of our little chat here, our conversation between us. I want to thank you again for spending the time. It's a pleasure to not only bring guests and talk to new people on this. As someone who I've tangentially got to know via the internet, it is very nice to have just a 1 hour conversation and talk about things in your life that we match and coalesce, and things that we're totally new to each other. And I love having these conversations. So again, thank you so much for being technically the official first guest. Technically, I tricked Fiona into getting the first episode. Technically being the first guest on Point in Conversation. So I do want to thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Where can people find you on the net? This is your point to tell us everything.
I'm pretty much NerfAlice everywhere. Follow me on TikTok.
Which is awesome, and I want to know how you do it, because those are incredible. The fact that you speed draw, or at least speed up your drawing process. How I got to ask all these questions off the air, because they're so incredible. So yes, please follow NerfAlice on TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, everywhere. Please. Wonderful work. And don't forget your Patreon. Please go ahead, plug your Patreon. If you love the art, go by all means.
Oh yeah, you get a print every month on Patreon, NerfAlice.
So by all means, yes. And of course, you can find this here at the youtube.com/pointinprogress, where you can find future episodes of Point in Conversation, where we talk to a guest and just have an open conversation. So that's what this is, and until next time.